we got a video for you guys today, man. There has been years of people telling me that PlayStation doesn't really try to compete much in the games as a service market. You know, which is funny because they've been investing into that market massively. So you can argue that they're actually investing more into that market now than they ever have, even single player games for that matter. Then you had the people telling me that when it comes to subscription services like Game Pass, they're not trying to really get in that either, but they bought servers because of it. They renamed stuff. They restructured things. They've literally been copying Xbox's whole flow for years when it comes to Game Pass Ultimate or Game Pass in general. You know, they did the PlayStation Plus. Then after they did the PlayStation Now, which, you know, most people don't even know that number now, unless you was actually paying attention back in the day. Now, not only did they copy the flow of Microsoft when it comes to Game Pass, they're also copying the moves when it comes to Game Pass. What am I talking about? You may add. What am I talking about? There is a game right now. It's called Sea of Stars, and it's coming to Game Pass day and date. I got some good news for the PlayStation people. It's also coming to PlayStation Plus. I think it's extra or one of those, you know, tiers. I think it's the middle tier. So they're also getting it. Why is this weird? First off, it's weird because this is the first game ever. And when I say ever, I mean ever. That a game is going into Game Pass day and date as well as PlayStation Now day and date. Or PlayStation Plus. I'm still calling it the old name. You guys are going to have to get over that. And the reason this is significant is because it used to be where Microsoft will grab some games and PlayStation will grab a couple games. They wouldn't even do as many as Xbox, like by far. You know, you got Stray. There's a lot of games that did go to PlayStation day and date. And it wasn't a lot. That's kind of exaggerating. But there was a decent amount of games. And when it came to the Xbox, you never saw those same games coming to Game Pass day and date. That also went to PlayStation. So to me, when you look at something like this, PlayStation is actually starting to say, yo, this is actually something we need to start investing into. And it is weird that they're taking one of the games that Microsoft is doing, and that's, you know, Sea of Stars. Sea of Stars looks like a phenomenal game, may I add. I want you guys to all go check it out. There's a demo right now on Xbox and PlayStation. I'm pretty sure it's on Steam too. So I think you should go check that out. But what I like about this is showing that PlayStation is willing to give indie developers bags. Now, obviously, when it comes to, you know, AAA stuff, they got to do that more. I think that PlayStation should start taking a bite out of Microsoft's own strategy when it comes to, you know, MLB The Show. I know they probably make a decent amount of money off of that game in terms of the sales, but I think a lot of MLB The Show's profits comes from the back end. And what I mean the back end is like the games as a service. I'm pretty sure they have like their own version of Ultimate Team from Madden. So they're able to make all that money in the back end. So I feel like PlayStation might just do that next year when MLB The Show 2024, 2025 comes out. I don't know what, you know, year. I think it's the year before it. I don't know. I don't play sport games like that. But you guys get next year's MLB might end up being in Game Pass and PlayStation Plus Extra. I think that's what the tier that this one is on. And I think the reason that is because look, like PlayStation didn't have to do this. You know, they could have easily found different versions of games to go into this and would have been fine. You know, you could argue that having this game on both systems does nothing to either system now. But PlayStation deemed Sea of Stars valuable enough where they felt like they had to compete with it to a point. This is good for the Sea of Stars developers because I feel like now they're going to get a huge back to back. And I think they're going to be really, really happy when it comes to stuff like that. I think at the end of the day, the biggest thing that we need to look at is just competition, better services for everyone. And if we get more opportunities like this where games like Sea of Stars come to Game Pass and PlayStation Plus day and date, then at that point it's not about the game, it's about the service. You know, bust up more games on PlayStation Extra, bust up more games on Xbox Game Pass, and I think the competition there is just it's going to benefit the consumer at the end of the day, because I think that's all people really care about is the consumer, and I think it's going to encourage more indie developers that have very unique games to also launch day and date on consoles, because they can maybe get that Game Pass and that PlayStation Plus bag. Because look at games like Hades, if I remember correctly, that was on the Switch exclusively for a while. So those developers, if they could have got a huge bag going into something like a PlayStation Now or a Game Pass, I think they would have been more occupied to maybe doing console ports on PlayStation and Xbox and even PC. I don't know if it was on PC. I think it was on PC. It was on the Epic Game Store. But it would have been more, rewarding for them to be like, Switch may have paid us, Nintendo may have gave us this bag, but now we could talk to these other companies and we can actually get into these subscription services and get more money up front. Because I think that's all people realize here. People don't realize that. These developers obviously they love to sell their product. But I think the biggest thing is the way I see it and the way, it's kind of been told to me, Xbox, PlayStation, they sit down with these developers and they're like, yo, we think your game's going to sell this amount. And then they give them a certain amount of money off of the amount of games they think is going to sell. And I think a lot of developers would agree that, that money, periodically is good, but a huge portion of the money they would sell on a platform all up front is nicer to them in the long run. And, I think Sea of Stars is just the opening, just the start of more and more of these type of games being multi-plat. Well, not necessarily multi-plat. It's a multi-plat game, but coming to both of these platforms and both of these ecosystems as well as subscription services day and date. And I think, Xbox definitely being in this area, reaching out to these developers, they have pretty much forced PlayStation to be more competitive in terms of the games coming in to PlayStation Plus Extra. But anyway, that's it for the video. I'm going to hit off. I appreciate everyone for giving me a little bit of time, having some stuff going on in my family now. But, and until next time, I want you guys to put in the comment section below, do you think this is good for subscription services in general? I know there's like a real bad line between if subscription services are good or not. And I think there's still more data we need to really justify what argument you would be on. But put in the comment section below if this is good for subscription services like Game Pass and PlayStation Plus. Anyway, until next time, this is Gaming Addict. I'm out of here. Peace.